Thank you. Yitzhak Rabin knew that courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act through it. He was a soldier who became a peacemaker, a man who fought wars but believed that the true test of leadership was the ability to imagine the end. As Prime Minister, he signed the Oslo Accords, shook hands with his enemies, and told his people that peace was possible. He believed that Jewish strength could still mean moral strength, that Israel's security could never come at the cost of its soul, and for that courage, for daring to believe that democracy, justice and peace could coexist, he was murdered by one of his own. And every year we return to his memory, because he represents the choice that still faces Israel and the Jewish world, between fear and hope, between cynicism and vision, between power for its own sake and power as moral responsibility. I had this in mind when this week I was in Jerusalem at the World Zionist Congress, the largest ever, with 700 delegates debating what Zionism means now. And when 2 weeks ago we spoke online to a Knesset hearing chaired by Rabbi Gilad Kariv about Israel and the diaspora. Both were political acts. And yet so often when we in Britain speak about Israel, we are told not to. We are told it's too political, too divisive, that it's safer to stay quiet, that we must defer to a single voice, a voice that on these issues is largely silent. But silence is not neutrality, and Judaism has never been comfortable with silence in the face of moral challenge. Our story begins with a Brit, a covenant, a promise made not in comfort but in responsibility. From Abraham to Sinai to today, it is a covenant of justice and conscience. To live Jewishly is to live publicly, to let our values shape the world we build. And so when it comes to Israel, that Brit still binds me. Speaking out is not just political, it is covenantal. It is not about ideology, it is about integrity. And I am very grateful to people like Mick Davis, who keep reminding us that this is not politics, it's essential to who we are. At the Knesset, we said that Israel and the diaspora are not parallel stories. We are one body. What happens in Jerusalem shapes life in London today. When fear and populism take hold there, they echo here. When the language of division replaces the language of conscience, the covenant fades. Israel today stands at a dangerous crossroads. We see the erosion of judicial independence, the intimidation of journalists and protesters, the shrinking of civic space. We see settlement expansion and daily violence that deepen despair on all sides. And we see political leaders unwilling to offer a path forward, and fear used as a substitute for vision. We have lived through the horror of October the 7th, Hamas cruelty, the murder and abduction of innocent people, acts that were tragic, terrifying, and continue to sicken us all. But this is also how a nation begins to lose its ethical and democratic soul, not all at once, but through the slow breaking of its Brit with itself. And so I am told often that it is easier to stay quiet, to not speak. And of course, sometimes it is. Since I first stood at these democracy rallies, I have been booed at, shouted at, called naive, dangerous, disloyal. But I have also had so many people come up quietly afterwards and say, "Thank you for still speaking. You sound like the Judaism I believe in." And that's why I'm still here. That's why you're all still here. Because silence might be easier, but silence is how covenants die. At the Knesset, we warned what happens when fear shapes politics. When Israeli politicians appear alongside people like Tommy Robinson, founder of the English Defence League. It may sound like friendship to some, but to many British Jews it sounds like danger. His movement was built on Islamophobia and anti-Semitic conspiracy. When Israeli flags appear at his rallies, it turns a symbol of pride into a symbol of exclusion. Jewish safety cannot be built on someone else's fear. This is not about left or right. It's about whether Jewish power still serves Jewish purpose. If Zionism becomes just another word for nationalism, then what remains? Many British Jews, not only the young, are questioning what their Zionism means to them. They feel the dissonance between what they were taught to love and what they see now. If we allow fear and domination to define Zionism, we will have broken faith with our Brit, with our values, with our history, with our hope. So let's reclaim it. Let's speak again of Zionism as a covenant, a living promise of responsibility and vision, not nostalgia, but obligation. A promise that Israel can still be a home for Jewish conscience as well as Jewish power. And that promise must include a pathway to peace, to two states, to safety and dignity for both peoples. Because without peace, the covenant is incomplete. And without justice, Jewish strength will one day stand hollow. So yes, the shouting will continue, the hate will come, but we will stay, we will speak, we will keep standing for Israel's democracy, not because it's comfortable, but because it is Jewish. Because if we give up on Zionism, we give up on ourselves. If we give up on democracy, we give up on the Brits that holds us together as a people. So today, marking the anniversary of the assassination of Rabin, let us remember what courage looks like. To stand when others walk away. To speak when the crowd turns against you. And to believe that Israel's soul and ours are worth fighting for. Thank you.